All right, everyone, let's wake up. We're going to have a fireside chat, which means we're coming with a lot of fire and power. And I have next to me actually a good friend of mine. So I'm super pleased to actually see you again after 10 years in the making. And he's come a much longer way than me, so I'm not going to talk about myself. I'm going to hand over to Nico.
Nice seeing you, Susie. Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here. So at Voltiris, what we do is that we use filters like the one here to develop solar panels that change the way we approach energy in the agricultural space and in greenhouses specifically. So very happy to be here today.
Tell me more. What is this about? So what are you actually doing? And how are you going to help the world become a better place?
So I think today one of the big questions that we all have is what is the carbon footprint of the food that we eat? I think there are a lot of ways in which we can approach this, and we can look at it in a lot of different angles. But ultimately, it also comes down to how we produce and where we produce. At Voltiris, what we do, thanks to our solution of solar panels for greenhouses, we provide to growers energy independence and therefore resilience towards spikes in the energy prices, and also the way towards their energy transition. So it's really at the nexus between food security and the energy transition of our greenhouses. When we look into a more holistic approach of how that ties also to European development of renewable energy, I think the question is, how are we going to deploy solar energy tomorrow? So today we still have quite a lot of prime location spots to deploy renewable energy, so houses, even fields, etc. But in a few years, those prime location spots will be missing. And I know that in Switzerland this year, we had a huge debate, for example, with Alpine Solar, which was the question of, should we put solar panels in the mountains? I think one of the reasons...
What's the answer?
Yes, let's not go there. But I think for me, the big question is, or what we believe at Voltiris is that one of the big things that today uses our land is agriculture. And if we can build a win-win situation where we can tap into the opportunity of producing renewable energy in agricultural surfaces, and at the same time provide to the agriculturers or the farmers benefits, so energy independence, agronomical benefits, that's a situation that helps everybody. And so that's what we're trying to solve.
Talking about helping everybody, so when we think about the energy goals for 2030 in the European Union, which proof points do we have today already that Voltiris is going to make a change? For example, when we look at the Geneva area.
Yeah, so I think here the idea behind what we do is by using our solar solution, we can really tap into a new place to produce energy. And so that's why it's groundbreaking, because it's really opening a surface that before was not available to produce energy.
Right.
And so just if we look, for example, at a surface or at a region like Geneva, so we're based in the French-speaking part of Switzerland, so that's why I take that as the example. Just working with the 10 greenhouses that are in the region, we could achieve about 50% of the deployment goals of the region in regards of renewable energy. What's also different with our solution when you compare it to traditional agri-photovoltaic solutions, so the combination of agriculture and photovoltaics, is that we don't need any building permits, so we can go super fast. And that's also one of the key points why we today have partnerships also with utility companies, because they're really interested in that fact that by convincing a few growers, we can deploy quickly, at scale, renewable energy.
You almost took my first point entirely away. Now on to what makes you really special. As in, why don't we talk about exactly what you're showing here, the spectral filtering in the solar solution panel. So how does it really work? What does your team have in the differentiation point that nobody else can do?
So I think what makes us different is, thanks to filters like the one that we have here, we managed to crack the equation between transmission of light to crops so that they can grow and do their photosynthesis, and producing energy efficiently. So meaning that the unit economics also makes sense when you look at it on an energy perspective. And so basically, in a nutshell, what we do, for the people that haven't seen our solution in action, is that we use filters like the one that we have here, that is going to filter the light coming from the sun. The part of the light that is necessary for the growth of the crops, and therefore for the photosynthesis, will go through our solution. And you see here kind of the pink color that goes to my hand.
Love the pink. Huh?
Yeah, I see that. We're in the theme of today. And the part of the light that is not used for photosynthesis, we concentrate it onto a solar cell to ensure that we can, at the same time, grow the crops efficiently without impact on their yield. And also we can efficiently produce energy. And therefore we can ensure that we have a full use of the light spectrum and that nothing of the light is wasted in the process.
I mean, it sounds almost too good to be true. Let's talk about the challenges in the energy storage, right? Because ultimately it really depends on which time of day it is, what are conditions, how is the light actually being absorbed. How do you look at that?
So I think here the interesting question is a lot about also the electrification of our economy and really about our agriculture. And I think one way to look at it is that our solution provides electricity or access to clean energy in a place where before it was not available. That is the greenhouse. Greenhouses today require huge amounts of energy to be operated, and that energy today comes from fossil fuel. So actually what we see is the opportunity for a solution like ours is really to enable the electrification of the greenhouses and therefore of our food systems. And here it's really that you're the gateway into providing that clean energy to the greenhouses, and then you have the opportunity to tackle the full heat systems of the greenhouse. So really thinking a bit more as becoming the NPAL or the 1,5 of the greenhouse sector and even of the agricultural sector, because what we do ultimately doesn't stop at greenhouses. Today we focus on greenhouses because they have those huge demands to reduce our carbon emissions. They need so much energy, and therefore we can do a lot of self-consumption. But the concept that we have and the principle that we have about light filtration can be used in any agricultural setups and then even beyond agriculture, I would say.
And even outside the actual greenhouse, right?
Exactly. So we're also testing now on crops that are outdoor. We're testing on plastic greenhouses. And ultimately, it doesn't just stop there. But I think that's also what's interesting with what we do.
Talking about testing, I mean, you're not just testing. You actually have a lot of projects already live. You've done a lot of different crop testing across different geos. Why don't you share a bit?
Yes, I think one of the challenges we initially had is that actually when you look at greenhouses specifically, it's the equivalent, I would say, of the Formula One of the agricultural sector. So it's extremely precise. Every detail matters. And so for us, one of the big challenges was actually to build credibility. And I think the team has done an amazing job over the past 2 years to build an expertise about greenhouses, about agronomy, how do crops grow, how do the operations of the greenhouse work, how do we integrate the energy into their system, all of this, to also build that, I would say, edge and an understanding of the growers. One key part of this was to test this filter over, I would say, as many projects as possible. So we've conducted over the past 2 years, I think around 12 projects, where we said, what does happen if we put our filter over this type of crop or in this geography? And actually that has also been building our defensive edge, because to some extent you can throw as much cash as you want on a tomato. You're not going to speed up the life cycle of the tomato, and so you're still going to need a few life cycles to fully assess the impact of a solution. And what's strong about what we've been doing, and in order to establish that credibility, is that now we have a track record of life cycles, of seeing how our solution works with the crops, that is going to be very difficult to replicate for other people trying to come into the sector.
Maybe on this point, so you're not just like looking at it on a unit-by-unit basis, but you actually have been rolling out 400 units today. So we have the first proof points that the solution has been working. Now what's next? Where's the big vision for Voltiris in the next coming years?
Yeah, so I think for us it's really about deploying at scale. So now we have one of the great successes we have this year is that we have a partnership also with one of the leading utility companies here in Switzerland, where we've been deploying the solution with the largest cherry tomato grower of Switzerland, which has been huge. We also have a global partnership with 3M. So actually we manufacture the filters with 3M, and so we're going with them at CES in January. They feature us as one of their climate solutions. We're continuing to build, I think, an amazing team. I think we have team members that...
I mean, you reached a lot with 12 FTEs, right?
Yeah, exactly. and I think, I mean, if you look at, that's something I'm actually quite proud of, is you have a lot of people that had good careers, that took the jump from their careers to join us because they believe in the vision and they believe in what we're trying to build. So I think that's also great. And so we plan to continue in that direction. I think the biggest, or for me, what motivates me the most is also seeing that we see a lot of traction with growers that are very excited about what we're building and that really believe in what we're building. And so that's also great.
So is there any way that I can invest in Voltiris today?
Yeah, so now we are, that's actually a good question. So we're now initiating the discussions for seed financing round.
Fantastic.
And so that's also what next for us. So really getting capital to continue the deployment and start the scaling of our solution.
Wonderful. Well, everyone, that's Nico from Voltiris. Give him a hand.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.